Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. I want to speak today about a terrible crime that involved the murder of a 2-year-old boy in the year of 1993. The child was known as James Bulger. I'll show you a photograph of James Bulger, who was just a little boy aged 2 years old. Here we are. Can you see this picture here? Yeah. Let me see if I can get that better picture there. There you are. You can see that, yeah. James Bulger, aged 2 years of age, was taken from a shopping mall by this 10-year-old boy. You can see, yeah, looking quite innocent there. Yeah, that's John Venables. And there's a report that John Venables is living in terror of having to spend the rest of his life in prison, whilst his accomplice in this murder, Robert Thompson, was released in 2001. But you see, the problem was that John Venables was released in 2001 from a young offenders institution, but was found to be in possession of child pornography. So he was taken back to prison. And, of course, the reason why John Venables is now afraid that he may never be released from prison is because going through Parliament is a new act called the Victims and Prisoners Bill, which will make it the responsibility of the Secretary of State to decide if any life sentence or long-term inmate can be released on parole. And Venables feels that he will not be allowed to be released from prison. And his co-conspirator, his co-murderer, his assistant in this terrible child murder, he didn't just kill the child, you know. They tortured James Bulger and left his body by a railway track. Yeah, his fellow murderer, Robert Thompson, was released in 2001 because he didn't reoffend. He is apparently now living somewhere in the UK under an assumed name and is in a gay relationship, apparently, but perfectly steadily and stayed completely out of trouble. But John Venables was returned to prison for possession of child pornography. Obviously, he's still on some kind of twisted kick there. Now, when I worked in the prisons, I met a number of serious murderers, and they were completely unrepentant. A number of them were completely, just didn't consider that what they had done was terribly offensive. I've previously mentioned about child molesters, and there was a guy in Strange, no, he was in Wormwood Scrubs, yeah, who had been a major in the British Army, and when he came out of the British Army, got a job managing a home for children with physical handicaps, and he was convicted of sexually molesting them. Completely did not consider for a minute that what he'd done was terribly wrong. He thought that he was unlucky to have been caught. Society was very fortunate that he was caught, but he wasn't on an indeterminate sentence, which in my opinion should have been, until it could be ascertained that he is safe to be returned into society, because obviously he had this predilection for molesting children. But you can imagine what kind of a twisted mind it is that would decide that they were going to sexually molest children in wheelchairs who can't walk and who are physically terribly disabled. Talking about perverts. Yesterday, believe this or not, I received communication from two ladies who were extremely concerned that me personally, had been deliberately working to get the theatre tour, cancelled for the pop singer P.J. Proby. I hadn't done anything at all like that. What transpired was that somebody, I had no idea who it was, it wasn't me, nothing to do with me, I wouldn't do anything as underhanded as that, but somebody had been sending out his negative press cuttings. Those of you who read the press will probably recall a couple of years ago he was headlines in the Daily Mail and the Daily Mirror for under an interview. He told the reporter, the journalist, that he was particularly interested in sexual relations with pre-teenage girls, like 12 years old. And of course, the headlines were read something like pervert pop star Proby, and that somebody had been sending round these press cuttings to the theatres, and the theatres had pulled his act, said no, he's not coming on here, and so his tour has been cancelled. And for some unknown reason, they thought to blame me. Nothing to do with me. I did write back to them and say, whilst it's absolutely nothing to do with me, I'm absolutely honoured to be considered as the man responsible. But it wasn't me, I wouldn't do that. And anyway, he's 84 years old now, probably. But he can still sing, Anyway, so that's the score with Jon Venables. He's now aged 40, by the way, and he's terrified he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Well, he's got a life. He has got a life, unlike that little boy, that 2-year-old boy that he took, tortured and murdered in 1993. I'm going to read you a poem. Well, for those of you who bought my book and left some nice comments, thank you very much. Do please leave me a review on Amazon. Yeah, it does help, apparently. So far I've got all 5-star reviews for that. It isn't, I wrote it, I know, but it is an interesting account. Somebody wrote for one of my other books that they thought it was boring. What kind of a life have they led if they think my life was boring, eh? Battling with bloody mass murderers, eh? Locking Frankie Fraser up, yeah? Forcibly injecting heavyweight boxers with Largactil, yeah, come on. It's not boring, is it? Dangerous, yeah, but not boring. I'm going to read you a poem. Yes, people have been requesting I read poems about war and all that, but I'll read you a poem by Rupert Brooke. But first of all, I'm going to sing you a little bit of a song that I wrote. Released in America, but not over here, I believe. It's called Last Train Home. I can only sing you what I remember, because I haven't got the words here, Luke. No script, nothing. It's just in my head. The shades of night are falling fast. I hear the whistle blowing on the last train home. I listen to a lonesome owl that's calling in the night, thinking about what might have been. I tried to do it right, but looking back's not easy when all your seeds are sown and you're staring at your ticket for the last train home. Anyway, that's just a little bit of Last Train Home, yeah? I'm now going to read you a poem by Rupert Brooke. It's called The Soldier. If I should die, think only this of me, that there's some corner of a foreign field that is for ever England. There shall be in that rich earth a richer dust concealed, a dust whom England bore, shaped, made aware, gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam, a body of England's breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by the suns of home. And think this, heart, all evil shed away, a pulse in the eternal mind, no less, gives somewhere back the thoughts by England given, her sighs and sounds, dreams happy as her day, and laughter learnt of friends and gentleness, in a heart at peace under an English heaven. Soldier by Rupert Brooke. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Thank you.